Man, oh man, is it beautiful outside today. I'll show you what I bought and explain what I'm doing today. Alright guys, so after a bunch of back and forth, we decided to go with red oak hardwood flooring as our countertops. We were going to do the pallet wood so it would match the backsplash, but being that every single piece is a different thickness, similar to the problem I had with the nails, we're going to run into the problem that the epoxy is going to be thicker in some spots than others, and we're going to end up using a ton of epoxy. And honestly, it worked out that it was very, very expensive to do. So, I mean, maybe there's a cheaper alternative that I don't know about, but from what I saw, it was much more expensive. So we're going to lay this stuff out on the counters. We're going to sand and stain it and then flood coat it with just like a basic epoxy countertop kit. And I think it should work awesome. So I'm going to get this stuff unpacked and get going. Hopefully this is one of the other things I get to in the next couple days, because this is getting old. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is put a couple screws in from underneath to hold these in their final location. And then I'm going to cut all of the wood out there, bring it in here, lay everything out on here, and like nail it in and be done with it in here, and then be able to take these back out to epoxy coat them. Because I think what's going to happen is if I try to epoxy coat it in here and things are just a little bit off level or there's a leak, I'm going to get epoxy everywhere. So I think it'll be easier to get everything lined up perfectly, get all the seams good in between the three different bar tops, and then I can flood coat them all outside where I'm not going to make a mess in here. So I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, but I've had this in the Craig kit for a while. I bought this larger one when we were doing a lot of cornhole boards over the summer. But it's this Craig specific like vice grip clamp with a 2-hole pocket hole jig on it, and this thing is awesome. Like, the other one that I had I was just using a regular vice grip clamp, and it's just with one hole, and it's hard to line up, and it moves around. This thing with the big foot and everything, it works awesome. Highly recommend it. And no, this is not a sponsored ad. I'm not getting paid for this. It's an awesome tool. So to get a rough idea of what this is going to look like, I laid out some boards here. I like the way it looks. I wasn't sure how it was going to look with the backsplash, but this is actually going to get stained pretty dark, so I think it's going to contrast pretty nicely and look pretty good. So I'm going to get to nailing these backboards in, and then I could start making my cuts so that everything lines up the same as the sheets of plywood. So I got one whole bar top done. I like how it's coming out. The only thing I have to figure out is how I'm going to terminate this. I think what I'm going to end up doing is adding a little fairing strip along here. I probably should have cut back down the back and slid this whole thing back, but I'll add a little fairing strip in the front, and then I'll cut one of these in half. I'll router the edge round and then nail it and glue it in, and there'll be a little piece of fairing strip underneath to support it. So I'm going to continue going on the rest of the bar tops. I don't want to waste the material and cut it down and do this edge first and then get to the end and realize I ran out. So So I just used the router with the flush bit to take the back paneling down so that the countertop would sit flat. Mistake on my part, I left the tongue portion of the tongue and groove on this board, so I had to trim it off with the multi-tool. So all the countertops are done. They look awesome. Happy with how they're coming out so far. We're gonna test the 2 different color stains that we got right now and see if we like either one of them. And then while we're doing that, I'm just gonna trim an existing board down and then quarter round it with a router so that we have a nice finished edge and you don't see the tongue portion of the flooring. So I'm gonna hop into that while Gabby tests the stain and check back in a couple minutes. So the borders around the bar tops are all finished. I just did an 1.5 inch piece of the same material. I cut the groove portion off so you wouldn't see it and it'll be nice and smooth. I'm gonna end up taking like an 1/8 inch round over bit and just going around so we don't have all these sharp edges, and it'll keep it from chipping. And then we decided to go with Kona as our stain. I think it goes with the backsplash really, really nice. So tomorrow I'll take these back out and sand them, and then we could throw a coat of stain on them, and hopefully by the end of the day we can epoxy coat them. Well, that worked better than I expected. So I did forget 2 things. I want to router the finished edges with a 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch round over bit, just so that they're not sharp and they don't chip. And then I also have to build a little, I think I'm gonna make it like a 7-inch bar top for the outside that we're gonna put 2 brackets on, so when people take their drinks out of the window, they can put them down here before they walk away with them. So I'm gonna hop into doing that. I have a piece of plywood left over from when I did the countertops, and I'm gonna quickly build that, and then I can get to sanding, routing, and just hopefully staining. So for the outdoor bar, I decided to stand the wood up on its face so that you wouldn't see the plywood backer board underneath. So I wrapped up the outside bar. Now I'm just going to grab the router with the round over bit and do the outdoor bar and the 3 indoor bars, and then I can hit them quick with some sandpaper and throw the stain on. So I got all the countertops sanded down and routed off and good to go. So I'm just gonna sweep up, blow the driveway off so there's not so much sawdust everywhere because it's a real mess. And then I'm gonna get to staining these. So I wanted to make this one video and show you all 5 days worth of progress, and it didn't work out that way. It ended up being way too much footage, so I'm going to split this into 2 videos. So I'm going to leave you with the time lapse of our trip out to Greenport over the weekend. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.